Well, people are out right now, and the good news here is that there is no threat to anybody outside of the apartment. We have been here for several hours now, and fire crews and detectives have been working this area, assessing the scene, and this is the closest that we can get. The actual crash happened kind of deeper within the apartment complex, but the good news also is that there are no injuries. I should mention, though, that they are working to assess just how bad that structural damage is and what the next steps will be for the people who had to evacuate. So you can see these photos given to us by a Mesa police detective. Police say an elderly woman mistakenly put her car in drive instead of reverse and plowed into the building. You can see her white car there in the apartment. Now, she did not actually enter any of the occupied apartments, but she did hit a support beam, which meant fire crews have their work cut out for them, making sure the building is safe.
There are some evacuations in place just while the Mesa Fire Department and the City of Mesa building inspectors conduct a structural integrity check to see if there's any further damage.
Now, it's important to note that we did find out that this is a retirement or senior living community. The tow truck did just arrive a bit ago. They're on scene to get that car out. Now, we've also been trying to touch base with anybody evacuated to hear how they're doing or when they'll be able to go back. Now, there is no word yet on if police issued any citations. We also, they did not mention, I should say, that there was any impairment as a factor. Of course, if anything there changes, we'll be sure to let you know, and we'll have updates to come. Reporting live in Mesa, I'm Sarah Robinson for Arizona's Family.